If you've been struggling to get your body rotating and getting your hips open at impact, I have a game changer drill for you that's really going to help you to pull this off. So first we want to understand when we're not opening up our hips at impact, right, what are we doing to get the club to the ball? Well, what's happening is if our hips are basically stagnant and not rotating, they're stalling, the club has to get to the ball somehow. So what we do is we throw our arms in front of the body, and then we also, with our wrists, we throw the club in front of our hands. And you can imagine if you come into contact like this, how poor that impact is going to be, right? Because you're going to tend to hit it really thin on the face, really low on the face. You're going to tend to hit behind the ball a lot and hit chunk shots. You're going to tend to lose a lot of shaft lean and add a lot of loft, basically turning your 6-iron into a 9-iron, right? And you're not going to hit the ball very far. And if you do, you're going to hit it a mile up in the air. It's going to be really, really hard to control. So if we want to be really consistent, we have to get shaft lean, and that is so much easier if we can get the body rotating open. So what we need to do is turn off those variables of the arms throwing in front of the body and the wrists throwing the club in front of the hands. So the way that we do that is we're going to go up to the top of the swing here, and I want you to pause. And what I want you to feel here is, number one, is that your lead arm here, your upper arm, your bicep area, stays pinned to your pec. Like you have super glue between your bicep and your upper pec here, and if you pull that away, it's going to really, really hurt, especially if you got chest hair or anything like that. Lucky enough, I don't have a lot of that, so it won't hurt me that bad, but some of you, I'm sure it will. But really, really feel like that is staying stuck on there. It cannot move away. So that's number one. Number two is let's cast the club. I know that seems counterintuitive, but if we cast the club, and we keep our arm pinned to our chest, the only way that this club can get there is if we rotate our body. Right? Like I said, we take those variables out and we can't use them. Now, would we really want to do this in the swing? Would we really want to cast it and come down? No, we wouldn't really want to do that, but this is what we want to do in this drill to really get the feeling of rotating the hips, and then we start blending it back in, and there we go. Now we've got our hips on, we got the best of both worlds. We got our body rotating open, and we have our arms creating speed in the downswing as well, and this is exactly what all the best players in the world do. So what I want you to do is go up to the top, pin that arm to the chest, right? And we're going to cast that club. Now, when you cast the club, this is very, very important. You need to cast the club behind you, right? We can't cast the club over here, because if I cast the club over here and I rotate through, I'm going to hit it a mile to the left, right? So I need to cast this club behind me, so that way when I rotate through, I can have that club on plane and I can hit some solid shots. So when I'm doing that, what we're going to feel with both wrists, we're going to feel the thumbs pointing out away from me, and I also want to feel this emblem of my glove pointing out away from me too. That's going to push that club back behind me, and then with my trail wrist, I'm going to have the knuckles back, right? So throw that club behind you, keep that lead arm pinned to the chest, and then we're going to turn through and we're going to rotate. Now, when we're rotating, what's really, really important here, and what I think is something that's a really good first move to start the rotation, and a lot of times when people do this first move, the rotation happens automatically. Once they get going, they spin like a top. They spin like a tornado. So what we want to feel is that when we're turned at the top, that our knees go out over our toes, right? And the direction of that is very important. So if we have our feet flared out a little bit, which if you have your feet like this, I want you to feel like your knees are kind of moving apart from each other. But if you have some good foot flare, which most players have, and I encourage if you want to get some freedom of rotation in your backswing, I want you to feel your knees push out over your toes to start the downswing. And I would really, really try to exaggerate it. A lot of times in the beginning stages when we're learning how to do this, you can't exaggerate it too much, okay? So push those knees out over the toes. Now if I do that, if I push this knee out over that toe and that knee out over that toe, look what happens. I rotate automatically. I have to. I can't push this knee out over that toe without rotating. It's very difficult to do. So that gets me to start rotating. So if I flex my knees and push them out over my toes, that's also going to push my hips back, and that's going to push my chest down with the one thought of pushing my knees out over my toes. All right, so we're going to go up to the top. We're going to keep that lead arm pinned to the chest. We're going to cast the club behind. We are going to push the knees out over the toes and rotate through. All right, and I imagine you'll see for the first time on video, maybe the first time, that you are rotating your body. All right, so work on that. Get lots and lots of reps in with that. Do it at home. Go up to the top of the swing. Keep that lead arm on the chest. Cast that club behind, emblem away, knuckles back, and the trail hand. Push the knees out over the toes and rotate open. That's really, really important to get that rotation started. So once you get comfortable with that, and you're able to do it at home, right? Or you can do a bunch of reps at the driving range if you want. Now what we want to do, I'm going to challenge you here. What I want you to do is I want you to get a large bucket of balls, whatever it is, 75, 90 balls, something like that is usually what a large bucket is. I want you to hit every single ball doing that drill. That's really what we have to do to get this ingrained, right? So that's what I'm going to challenge you to do. Hit a lot of balls in a row where you do this drill, where you're really feeling that rotation through the ball. Then the next time you go to the range, I want you to get another large bucket, and I want you to do half of the balls where you're doing that, so that way you can get the feel of it back again. And then I want you to switch every other. I want you to do half, go one where you do the drill, then one where you try to implement it in a normal swing. So you're going up to the top and feel, I want you to let this club kind of lag behind, but I want you to feel that rotation that you had before while getting that club to lag behind you a little bit. And if you do that, well, now that you're getting the swing started correctly, well, now it's going to be a lot easier, right? So if I can work this toward going up to the top and then creating some lag and then rotating through, I'm going to be in much better shape. That's exactly what we want to end toward, right? So work through that, challenge you, one bucket challenge. Go work on that. You're going to start rotating your hips right away. Now, one thing I didn't mention here that is a key cog to this whole thing is that we have to be able to get this club shallowing out in the start of the downswing, right? None of this really matters, what I just talked about, unless we have the club in position. So what I mean by that, and as I mentioned earlier, right, when we're feeling that casting, you need to throw that club behind you in the drill, right? Because if I throw it out here and I rotate, I'm going to swing way to the left, right? So if we're starting our downswing when we're doing the every other, right, going with this drill, if I start my downswing and I have it like this, well, if I push my knees out over the toes and I rotate, well, I'm going to have that same problem. I'm not going to be able to get it behind me. So your brain knows that, right? Your brain knows, hey, that's not going to work. That's going to be bad if you do that. So your brain is going to intervene, and it's going to say, you need to stand up, lose the flex in your knees, push your hips forward. And look, when I do that, if I'm coming down steep and I push my hips forward, now look at that club. Now it's shallowed out. But the problem is I have to go back to what I did before. I have to throw my arms in front and throw the club head in front of my hands. So we have to get that club shallowing out in the start of the swing. And we have to get that face squaring earlier. We have to be kind of doing this move, not casting the club, but getting that face squared up and getting that club kind of shallowed out more behind us, so that way I can stay in my posture and turn through. And this is what we refer to as the anti-roll method at top speed golf. So if you see that's happening in your swing, when you do the whole bucket and then you do the every other and you look at your downswing and you see, you're coming down in the downswing here and you see this butt end of the club is pointing inside of the golf ball, right? So if I draw a line straight down, if that's pointing inside of the golf ball, you are steep and you need to work on getting that club shallowed out. So like I said, this drill, this anti-roll method is a prerequisite to getting the hips open. If you can't do that part, then you're not going to be able to do this drill correctly, okay? So if you want to see a preview of that drill, I'm going to play a preview of that here in just a second. But if you'd like to see the entire video, all you have to do is click the iCard that's going to appear up on your screen. If you don't see the iCard, no worries. Click the link in the description below. Play well, start rotating, and I'll talk to you soon.
Here's the bottom line. If you've been taught to roll the club in the early downswing, that causes the shaft to get steep. And that steep club causes all your problems. It causes you to hit it way behind the big hitters and way inconsistent with your quality of strikes. So you're in the tall grass and the trees and the hazards all day long. Now the great news is this. There's really only two pieces that you need to know to fix all these problems. The first one is we need to learn the proper way to square up the club face. Instead of rolling the forearms and getting steep, there's another way that the pros do this. Once you learn this right way to square up the club face, then you can shallow out from the inside and everything starts to fit together. Now I'm going to teach you this right now in what I call the anti-roll method. You may also hear this called the motorcycle move or the tour twist, but let's walk through exactly how to do that. Now what I want you to do is go ahead and go kind of in the last parallel in the downswing. So here, I want my hips to go ahead and be opening up. I want my club to be parallel with the ground, and I want my hands to be in front of my right thigh. Now, when I take my grip, you're going to notice that when I do this, the club face is basically straight up and down. So if I'm looking at it from this angle, you'll see the face is straight up and down, and my logo of my glove is pointed out in front of me. Now from there,